This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Strozinski. On today's show, what's really going on with Andrade? We've got the inside scoop, and we're going to tell you what's up there, as well as the most recent WWE Hall of Famer to be inducted into this year's class, as well as what's going on with Charlie Crusoe. We've got changing of the guard with the female announcers in the back. We've got the scoop on all of those, as well as, I promised it last week, I think I promised it 2 weeks ago, we have an interview with Josh Franklin. You'll know him as the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone, Impact wrestler. He won the gut check competition, so we're going to have him on in the middle segment of our show. But we're going to kick this bad boy off with our Fastlane preview. This is pay-per-view season, and doing it with me as always, he's the one. He's the only. He was the winner of our last pay-per-view challenge. He is the Doc, John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
I'm looking forward to this podcast. Looking forward to our first wrestling interview in a long time. Get some scoop on what's going on in Impact, and I'm excited for Fastlane. And the news segment should be really good as well because, like always, another week has passed. Another wrestler wants out.
Yeah, the new segment's going to be hot fire for sure. Let's kick off Fastlane. So this is another one of those WWE pay-per-views that is kind of sandwiched in between two of the big boys, and a lot of times it's forgotten about, and a lot of times they don't do a really good job capturing your attention. And I think that's kind of the case with this one. You know, you and I will both be watching this, but let's get right to the predictions. Universal Championship. We've got Roman Reigns defending against Daniel Bryan. I know where you're going, and I'm going in the same direction. I think we both have Roman Reigns on this one. Kind of a no-brainer, right?
It would be a shock, but I think that I don't see a scenario in which Daniel Bryan wins this at all.
Yeah, I don't see it either. Move on to the Women's Tag Team Championship. We've got Nia Jax and the boot-kicking, tooth-loosening Shayna Baszler defending against Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks. I've got Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler winning this because Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks are set to do battle at WrestleMania. I don't know why you would put tag team belts on them. Doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you 100%. You think this will be a good match? What percentage chance you give this of being a match that people will like?
I mean, Nia Jax is in it, so that automatically takes down at least 4 points on a scale of 1 to 10. Shayna Baszler doesn't do a whole bunch for me. I mean, look, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks will have to carry that entire match to make it good, and they're going to have to sell their asses off. Because of them too, I will give it a 6.5. And it's a strong 6.5, but I can only go 6.5, and it's because they're fantastic at what they do in the ring. Now, the Intercontinental Championship will be defended as Big E will be defending against Apollo Crews. Who do you have winning this one?
I hate the gimmick of Apollo Crews. I'm going to be honest with you. I like previous versions of his
Doesn't it
gimmicks.
remind you of what Farouk used to be?
Right. I just, not into it. So, but do you give him the moment? That's the key. I don't have a good feeling about it, but I think you keep the belt on Big E.
Yeah, I think it's Big E as well. Look, we talked about it a lot with Big E. Big E is working his way into a prime position to be the guy to challenge Roman Reigns. I think he is the next guy to rise up and challenge Roman Reigns after we get through WrestleMania. So I think you keep the belt on Big E, and I think after WrestleMania, at that point, that's when he drops it. All right, now we've got Drew McIntyre taking on Sheamus. These were once two best friends, once in a tag team faction, and they do great work in the ring. Who do you have winning this one?
Drew McIntyre. I think that going into WrestleMania, you can't have him going on a loss, can you? Absolutely not, because you're going to have him fight in a big match. That would be awkward. It could be a DQ situation, but I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I think Drew McIntyre wins this, and I think Sheamus puts up a good fight. I think Sheamus comes out looking strong, but I think Drew Mac wins this. Now, this is a weird match. It made our match card, and I'm not sure how this is going to play out. I kind of have a bit of an idea. Don't be surprised if all of a sudden The Fiend comes back, but you've got Randy Orton taking on Alexa Bliss. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if The Fiend showed up. I'm going to go with Alexa Bliss winning this, and it'll be because of some type of distraction with the Fiend. It'll be because of some type of magic. It'll be because of something. I just don't know how this is going to play out because WWE doesn't really like these intergender matches. And Randy Orton's fantastic in the ring, and Alexa Bliss is fantastic in the ring. I just don't know if I would do this, and I'm not sure why WWE is necessarily doing this.
This is going to be tough, right? The Fiend could return and get the win, huh? Get the aid for his gal. The gimmick has been good. It's been real good. I've been more intrigued with her relationship away from the ring than what's been going on with her lately.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you know what I mean?
Why, like, there's no need for these two to get in the ring. Just keep doing what you're doing. It's been fantastic.
But I can't do that. I'm going to go Randy Orton.
This is where we differ, and this is where you get another point, hey?
I'm thinking this is where it's going to be an opportunity for me to get my points here. But it's okay. You got to take risks. It's okay being that I'm ahead. With the women, I might have to kick myself not going forward with it.
We'll see what happens. Now, Shane McMahon and Braun Strowman will do battle. I don't know if you've seen this. Friend of the podcast, Mikey, who works with Breaking Down the Ring, posted an image that got pulled off of Facebook. It was Braun Strowman covered in the Nickelodeon green slime and Shane McMahon holding his head up. And I guess Facebook pulled it down because they said it apparently was like a dirty image, almost pornographic, I guess, which made no sense to me. But I don't see how Shane McMahon wins this. I mean, even if Adam Pearce intervenes, even if somebody comes down from the back, I've got Braun Strowman winning this.
Me as well. I think this is a character that's in need of a push. Big dude, but you can't have him go the way of the Big Show and just kind of be a middle-of-the-road player. You got to get him back in title contention.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way as you. He's too damn good to not be utilized in higher up the card. I'm not really sure what's going on with this whole Shane McMahon gimmick. All right. This is a match that might make the card, might not make the card. We'll see kind of how it plays out. You know how these cards can get adjusted and shifted around. Sometimes we end up throwing matches in that don't ever make the card, but when we pull it, it's being discussed and it's being kicked around in circles at WWE. We've got the United States Championship. We've got Matt Riddle defending his title against Mustafa Ali. Now, they've had a fantastic back and forth. I don't know exactly what is going on with Retribution. I don't know exactly what is going on with Mustafa Ali. Mustafa Ali has been fantastic. Even when he got his push and then he got hurt and then he came back. Like, I love Mustafa Ali. I think he's great. I don't know if WWE knows what they're doing with him. I don't know if now is the time for Matt Riddle to drop this belt. And because of that, I'm going to take Matt Riddle.
Yeah, I think too. For a couple of wrestlers that are in need of big pushes, right? You got Matt Riddle, I think, who's poised to be a superstar, and Braun Strowman. I think, I like his whole package. He's unique. I love his promos, and he's just one of those characters that when he's on the screen, you got to pay attention, right?
No, absolutely. He's got a good look. He's a different character. It works. I can't describe it any other way than it works. That's the best way I guess you can put it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. So with the picks, just so everybody's aware, Doc had a massive victory with the Revolution pay-per-view. Ends up taking the point. He has a 3-2 lead over me as this stands. So this will be interesting. Either I can climb back into the race here and tie it up, or he's going to lengthen that lead by 2. So it'll be interesting to see what happens this weekend with the Fastlane pay-per-view that kicks off on Sunday on the Peacock Network now, no longer the WWE Network, on the Peacock Network at 8 o'clock. So are you ready for an interview? We haven't done an interview in quite some time.
What are you looking to get out of this interview? Impact. I know you and I have been doing the Impact review. We've been seeing the growth of this brand, trying to get on par now with the working relationship with AEW. What do you think of it?
I'm going to be interested to kind of get some background information as to kind of what goes on at Impact. This is a local guy. Like, the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone is local. He's from this area. So I think that's what makes this a really cool interview for us. And I'm interested to kind of see what his take is and kind of what his growth has been, going from the indies into Impact. So let's bring him on the show right now.
So bringing to the main stage right now, if you're watching this on Zoom, he goes by 1-800-CALL-SUPLEX. He is the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone. What's up, Suplex?
Well. What do we have here? What's up, fellas? Glad to finally be on this show, chilling with you guys. We've been having some technical difficulties, but we here, guys. I'm so thankful for being on the show. Thank you guys for just bringing me on, man.
Hey, man, we're excited to have you on. Look, so this was interesting. The way I got introduced to you was by my girlfriend. So you're a local product. You're from the Metro Detroit area. How do you and my girlfriend know each other? Because apparently you guys go to high school. What's the story here?
Yeah. Shouts out to Alyssa. What up, though? We shouts out to all the Norsemen alma mater over at our high school. That's where we went to high school, Grosse Pointe North. And pretty much Shogun was, well, during that time, pretty much all involved in sports, from football, wrestling in the winter, and then rugby. Grosse Pointe South and Grosse Pointe North, they were able to have clubs together. And then pretty much that's when Shogun was able to bang some heads in on the field. So pretty much it was football during the fall, wrestling during the winter time, and then rugby during the spring. And then during that time, pretty much Alyssa and I just bumped into each other all the time during classes and said, what's up? And we had mutual friends from all of our good buddies that we know of, from Mithla and Trish and all that. So we go back. So it's good just to have a good friend of mine reach out and also just peep the journey of wrestling and just peep like what I've been up to and who I've been suplexing. And it took me by surprise, but I was really excited that she told me about you and let me know about your podcast. I looked into it. I really like you guys. I really, really appreciate what you guys are doing for Detroit sports, man.
Well, we appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. What's interesting is, like many of us, we all grew up watching wrestling as children, Saturday mornings, hitting superstars or watching old WCW tapes and things like that. How did you get into professional wrestling? Were you early on a fan as a kid?
Oh, most definitely. When Shogun, I was born in 91. So for me, I was thrust right into that almost end of they would say golden age of the 80s era, with Hogan and all that stuff. But it was transitioning into the Monday night feuds of Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock on one channel. And then you have Hulk Hogan draped in black and white and the NWO Ric Flair on the other channel with WCW. So it was the 90s was a great time for wrestling, especially growing up as a kid, just to watch it, and I've always been just involved in just professional wrestling. My very first show that I went to, I was 9, maybe 10 years old. My father took me to Joe. It was out at the Joe. And I remember Stone Cold Steve Austin closed out the show. It was against this amazing martial artist named Steve Blackman. It was great. It was a great fight. And at the end, Stone Cold just stayed up for a whole hour, just keeping everybody up, cracking jokes. And then every time the guy would get back up, Stone Cold stun him. Music would hit. He would drink some beers and get back going again. So, from there, I was hooked.
That's awesome. So where did you train? So this happens when you're a young kid. You get introduced to it all. And then at what point does the switch go on? You're like, I need to do this. And then how do you get to where you are now, where you're part of Impact Wrestling?
Well, I think it's something that I've always had in the back of my mind, to be honest with you. And it's always been mentioned like, hey, man, you ever think about doing this? You ever think about trying that? And I've always been interested in it for sure. So, and just every sport has theatrics. Every sport has drama. And professional wrestling is no different. And I just want to bring 100% of who I feel I am to that sport. And honestly, I would say, man, from the moment I saw it as a kid, I was like, I'm going to give this a try one day. But when I really pursued it was after college. And after I graduated at Tiffany University, I went to Mega Championship Wrestling that was located in Elyria, Lorraine area. And pretty much my trainer, Brandon Xavier and James West, they both are just amazing minds and amazing trainers. Also, Jeff Traxler, he's the promoter there. They were gracious enough to bring me in and pretty much let me be able to train there. And I would drive there every other day, pretty much 3 days, at a time from Detroit to Elyria, back and forth, and just making that trip and just, busting my ass as much as possible. And then I pretty much, as time went on, I got my experience going, and I was there for about a year and a half. I wanted to expand myself and I wanted to grow my technique. My trainer, he's like, go for it. So I heard about House of Truth out here in Detroit. Shouts out to Truth Martini, everybody in the Metro Detroit area. All the wrestlers over here, love you guys. And pretty much Truth Martina, Paul Bowser, Douglas Morgan, all those guys, they were gracious enough. Shouts out to Creep also. All those guys are gracious enough to bring me in and to honestly sharpen my technique and to keep me to where I am right now. fast forward to pretty much bump into a man named Johnny Bravo, who is also on Impact Wrestling. He is my one of my mentors right now in the game for sure. And the moment we had our match, he essentially took me under his wing and said, "This is where I'm headed. This is where I need you to go as well."
That's awesome. So walk us through your very first match ever. So you're on the indie scene. Walk us through what that's like, because I don't know about you, man. Generally, the first time I do something, it's a complete mess. You seem with trying to set up a Zoom interview with you. Like the first time I tried doing it was a complete mess. I reached out to you, and I'll be honest with you, I did a poor job of introducing myself and introducing who we are and what we do. So you see, sometimes it just doesn't go so smooth. What was your first match like?
Oh, bro, first off, you're completely fine, man. You know, we in the ring, we always just keep it going. We keep it going. So that's what we're doing. And honestly, brother, my first time in the ring, my gosh, let's say it was April. It was around mid-April. Yeah, it was mid-April, and it was outside at a festival show. Now, mind you, there's country music on one end, and there's me on the other end. I'm walking out. I'm like, all right, so we're about to do this now. So, and of course, there's no real preparation other than just doing it, honestly. And the guy who I was able to wrestle against, Ben, actually at that time went by Ben the Bear Boone, goes by Ben the Bachelor Boone, had a complete changeover. Shouts out to Ben, much love to him. But that first match, I learned a lot. And I remember I hit a suplex, I hit a clothesline. Oh man, you talk about heart pumping. You know what I'm saying? Like cause it was like this little crack that was right near the ring. And there was like a couple people who were tripping before they got in the ring. Over that crack. I was all right. My man go, I don't care how the match goes. Just don't trip. You know what I'm saying?
Fall.
Don't fall. So, but luckily we got in the ring and we were all good. And yeah, man, it was a very fun time.
So I've watched a couple of your matches on YouTube, and you guys, you can go check out his stuff on YouTube. It's fantastic. On the show with DocNJock right now, the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone. Follow him on Twitter at Jackson_Stone31. Follow him on Instagram at Jackson_Stone313. He is a newly signed product of Impact Wrestling. Won the gut check competition. Now, I've seen some of your videos. You're a big dude. Like you are thick, bro.
Thanks,
I seen your match with Michael Elgin, and you stack up with that guy, and like that's a big brother for sure. So, like, how big are you for real?
Right now during 2020 I started at we'll start with Impact. When I got signed in April, I was 340. Wow. And I was 340. I'm 6'1", and 6'1", 6'1" on a great day. And and pretty much during that time, I was like, I need to revamp. I need to reshape myself. And even though I felt great, it was still like so much more. So much potential I knew I had to unlock. And I took that time during like the hot season of COVID just to stay, like, honestly, keep myself locked in and just work and better my nutrition, better my mindset, just sharpen myself, honestly. And now I'm weighing at 280. My goal is to get to 250.
Man, so for people who don't understand, when you go from as big as you were and carrying all that around to then just leaning up and getting so much thinner, like your power levels just got to be through the roof. Like no wonder like your move is the suplex. Like I seen you tossing dudes around. It was absolutely crazy for sure. You brought up COVID. How did COVID impact you? Like how did this, like it seemed like there was like a rocket ship strapped to your back, and then all of a sudden COVID hits, and now you got to kind of pause everything. So how did COVID impact just everything going on in your life?
Man, during that time, it was right. You said it right as I got signed. All that hard work, and it felt like for a while I was in a weird limbo stage because Gut Check was filmed for a long time, but people don't realize there's some footage I was missing. But that was a long competition. And we had to miss Thanksgivings. We had to, miss out on that good holiday time with our family to go over to Canada to really bust our ass and prove ourselves, which, led to me getting signed. But as soon as I got signed, I was like, yeah, let's go. A week later, everybody stays home. Okay. And I mean, honestly, man, it wasn't just me. because I know like I wasn't just the only one who was on the edge of something big in their lives, or some next chapter. I had other comrades, other friends who were really, really getting into the next phase of their career and reaching that next pinnacle for themselves. And COVID, yeah, man, slowed a lot of things down. But the great thing again about the wrestling industry is that we keep going. No matter what, we keep moving. And right now, there are promotions who are working, close with the states and the cities and working with restrictions. Actually, shouts out to a great promotion I'm heading up tomorrow, Chainsaw Pro Wrestling out in Kalkaska, Michigan. It's about 3 or 4 hours out north. And the great promotion. But yeah, they're working really hard and making sure that everybody follows the restrictions. They keep it a tight crowd amount. And also the same thing for JCW, the Juggalo Championship Wrestling promotion by Violent J and Shaggy by CP. They kept tight restrictions on their crowd as well. So I think right now,
wrestling with those guys. So like here's the thing. Little known fact. Back in the day, like when I was in high school, and I'm a couple years older than you. I was a huge ICP fan. So like I like followed all of it. So like what are those guys like real quick? Just a detour.
They are exactly how they sound, on the tracks. Like they exactly are, but they're huge, honestly, great guys. Like they're huge wrestling fans. Amazing. Like, I would say minds of wrestling. Just the fact that they were referencing off just random AWA or NWA wrestlers. I love the fact that they're able to have a show where they were bringing Michigan talent in and really highlighting what they can do. And again, like they're wacky guys. They can be some crazy guys, but all in all, like they love the wrestling business, and it shows, honestly. And I think it's cool because how independent, like my independent and their independent, I feel like it kind of correlates because they do things on their own. And I love that. And that's how independent wrestling is. You do it on your own. And I think they embody a lot of that, but I mean, it was crazy, man, being in wrestling at their house. We were in their studio, just warming up. And I was like, wow, this is where all right. So this is where some of the heat was made. So it's just cool, but I mean, it was great. Shouts out to those guys. Shouts out to ICP. Thank you so much. Yeah, man, I can't wait to get back there. Honestly, hopefully me and Congo can have that dog collar match again, round 2.
That was pretty
Absolutely.
sweet.
Tell us about round 1.
Right. You know what? If I could, I will show you the start to encapsulate everything. But it's a nice little scar right here. I think I got that from when he cannonballed me into the corner. But man, it was every time. We fought on different occasions in different states. One time in Indiana, I remember for sure. But every time, man, it's always hard hitting. It's always something to remember and to take from, honestly. So shouts out to Congo Kong.
Absolutely. Now, you mentioned that you associated with a lot of friends that also moved up in wrestling. Tell us a little bit about your relationships. And in the Impact locker room, did anybody take you under their wing? Did you talk to anybody and get some advice and tidbits, especially from some of the classic veterans that are there?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Eddie Edwards was very, very welcoming. Moose, despite what people may think of him, Sammy Callahan, great minds. Rich Swann, I look at him honestly as a brother, somebody that I can lean on and talk to if I have an idea, somebody I want to push. Willie Mack, all those guys, I would say those guys were really, really pivotal in making me feel comfortable. Also, Trey Miguel, me and Trey, I know Trey from the days of, before he actually even was signed to Impact. And, one of my first matches was against him. And it was just as amazing then as he is now, even better. So it's one of those things where it's great to be in that locker room with those guys because I was able to see some of those guys come up and for them to be able to take me and be like, hey man, if you need anything, I got you. It feels great. And also for them to be able to critique my matches and say, hey, here's what I would have done. Here's what you could do. Think about that. Just that kind of mindset. I really appreciate it because they want to see me grow. And that's honestly, I think that's the best part about wrestling. You're supposed to have people grow.
Joining the DocNJock Wrestling Show, we have an exclusive interview with the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone. Again, you can follow him on Twitter at Jackson_Stone31. Follow him on Instagram at Jackson_Stone313. He is the winner of the Gut Check competition with Impact Wrestling. And you talked about how you had to miss parts of Thanksgiving. I'm assuming you had to miss parts of Christmas. And this was all leading right up to COVID. What was the toughest part of the gut check competition? And what was it like once you finally won and you got to put your name on that paper for that contract?
Ooh, I would say the toughest part was probably the first day. The first day, honestly, like, and I'm not even talking about the day that people saw on cameras. I mean, like the very first day of because the competition was more than just the 7 people that you saw. It was about 40 people involved at first. And because they did a massive, hey, here are the hot wrestlers who we are hearing about now. Here is what we're going to do. We're going to bring them in. They're going to have matches and have promos and we're going to get them out of here. And all that talent in that room, there's a lot of talent. And for all those who are watching and all those who know who they were in there, that room, amazing talents, honestly, who I feel who are honestly killing it right now in their own respects. And like that first day, after I got through that first day, I was like, all right, if I can get past that, I can get through it. I mean, you had Scott yelling at me, had Scott D'Amore right in my face, telling me to actually get down on my push-ups and all that. But it was honestly, man, it's one of those things where I come from a background of, football, rugby, hardcore, crazy, wrestling coaches, just get up, go, push-ups, take down drills, all that stuff. So, I mean, discipline is something that doesn't come, that comes easy to show, in second nature. So for me, it was, once I got past that nervous break of just like that first part, all right, let's just showcase who we really are. Once I got past that first initial day, I think it was all good for me. It was just like second nature. Just be yourself. Because all it is, just be yourself.
How validating was it for you to sign that contract? Like, what were the emotions that you were going through?
Man, so the first thought I did have, because you watch that clip back, Bravo was in my ear. He said, you did it. You did it. And I remember saying in my head, like, because I had like visions in my head about getting at that spot like 4 or 5 years ago. And it wasn't even going to be, whether it be Impact or another promotion. I had a vision. I was going to be somewhere at another step. I had that thought in my head like 4 or 5 years ago. And that initial thought of me going to training, my very first day of training, when I was low on gas, had to ask my family for money, my father for money. I was bald tires. It was snowing. Like it was a trip. And that was like a good 3-hour trip from Detroit down to Elyria. That first day I thought about, because I cannot tell you how many times, sometimes you think about you're doing something. You be like, are you sure about it? Are you sure about it? I had no issues with doing what I was doing. I was like, no, I'm sure. I'm very sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm very sure. I kept on saying that over and over, like, no, I'm very sure this is what I want to do. And it was the most validating thing, because it's nothing more validating than to prove yourself right. Not even everybody else. Like, I didn't care about, I had my naysayers, but to prove myself right, that was validating.
That's awesome. Now, what is kind of take us behind the scenes a little bit. What is a day like when you guys are doing a taping at Impact? And is it just one day, or do you guys do like a whole week?
They break it whenever they have their loops. Right now for COVID, they're breaking it. They get in and we're filming, man. We're getting those matches going. We're getting the promos going. I mean, it's constant motion. It's constant work. And it's different from, I mean, of course, where if COVID wasn't happening, it'd be way better with, being able to go from town to town and being able to interact with fans and see them face to face and being able to have those shows filmed there. But for right now, with the closed set, it's a different feeling. But I cannot tell you how much I can't wait to hear Shogun chants in the crowd, honestly.
Well, it'll be coming soon for sure. It'll absolutely be coming soon. So we'll get you out of here on this. What's next for Shogun Jackson Stone? What's coming up for you? And if there's any place where we can go and catch your matches. I know you brought up what you got coming up. I think it's this weekend, you said.
Yeah, actually tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Oh, okay. Tomorrow, Friday night. What's going on?
You know what? Right now, other than that, right now we are working close with Impact. But actually, I just made my debut, and they didn't want to bring it out, but I'm just gonna let it out for I just made my debut at OVW. For those who know, OVW is just a classic historical place. For me, it holds a special place in my heart because a lot of the guys who I grew up watching in the Ruthless Aggression era came from that. that school as well. And made my debut there. I was able to meet Al Snow. Great man, good mind, great mind for wrestling, all that. And it was great just to be able to talk and be able to finally be in that building, man. Because since COVID hit, that was a good year and a half process of me trying to get down there. So, just trying to talk to the commissions, get everything going. And fortunately, I was able to finally get my license, get down there. And the match I had was really fun. I can't wait for it to be on YouTube. I can't wait to be back down there. And you'll be seeing me down there, OVW, Chainsaw Pro Wrestling, and pretty much Impact Wrestling. But also, there'll be some more stuff coming up down south as well, Texas and Florida. Here we go.
That's fantastic.
I want to let you in on something. If you're in the market for a Middle Eastern shit talker or muscle at OVW, hit up DocNJock. We're ready to go, ready to suit up, ready to let everybody know who's coming to town and who's coming for the title. We're not coming to mess around. We're coming to promote our guy from the D. And that's right. That's what I want to let everybody know is that when you rep with DocNJock, it's all good, baby.
Well. Joking got hype off that one. That was here we go. You guys might be in it. You guys might be ready for the business, man.
You know what? I mean, we've been watching wrestling all the time, man. You hyped us up. I'm so grateful for your time. Looking forward to seeing your rise. And anybody that reps the D, man, is good with us.
Always, man. Oh, real quick, guys. I come on to the show. I want to ask you, favorite Detroit sports athlete of all time? Go.
Steve Eiserman for me.
Nice.
Oh, man. For me, it's Barry Sanders, man. Electrified the Silverdome and Ford Field. Hopefully a new running back in that electrified Ford Field like Barry Sanders was able to for so many years. It doesn't get any better because of the fact of his talent and what he was able to do out there at the Silverdome. Man, with more people, 80,000 people, my goodness.
Man, beautiful pitch, guys. Oh, you know what? It was between, honestly, it is actually between the cap, between Eisman, but also it was also between Barry, but Sweet Lou, I'm a baseball fan. I love Sweet Lou. So, Sweet. Yeah, my dad showed me filming him back when I was a kid. I was like, man, that guy, just something about him. He was he was like watching silk. But for me, I might go with Barry. I'm going to go with Barry because I got my Barry Sanders jersey, also John Randall jersey for those who don't know the Vikings. But always repping the Lions, man. Hopefully, we can get some type of a push coming in the next coming years for all Detroit sports because we need it.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, y'all.
Fingers crossed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the Suplex Shogun Jackson Stone, a product of Detroit. He is one of a kind. He's fantastic. Thank you for coming on and doing this show with us. Again, he is the newly signed product of Impact Wrestling. He made it through 40 some odd people to win gut check competition with Impact Wrestling. You can follow him on Twitter at Jackson_Stone31. Follow him on Instagram at Jackson_Stone313. Check out some of his clips on YouTube. I tell you, they are some fantastic matches.
Thank you, man. Arigato. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Woo! Fascinating interview. I love it because I think we got to do this more, especially with video being a major part now of wrestling podcasts. I got a video guy, and he's great. He's amazing. And it's like I said in previous podcasts that you can find via YouTube. People that have listened to our show back in 14, 15 have grown up. They've gone to school, and they've like, hey, you remember when, back in 14, 15? I'm like, yeah. Like, well, yeah, now I'm out of college, and I do videos. I'm like, this is great. So to be able to see this interview as well that we just recorded will be awesome. Now, Cuz, hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What you got?
All right, so this is what made the list this week. Last week, the former United States champion Andrade asked WWE to be released from his contract, a decision that obviously the company rejected and said no because nobody wants anybody going to AEW. Why would you want that? Why would you want to go succeed someplace else that could utilize you to your fullest? Recently, Andrade confirmed all of this on Twitter. Now, Andrade has not appeared on WWE programming since October, but he has apparently still been present at Raw. He hasn't been used, though, which could be the source of some of his frustration. Talking on his Hall of Fame podcast, Booker T claimed that Andrade would be a huge star if his English was better, saying, I was reading that Andrade asked for his release. WWE, of course, didn't want to lose a guy like Andrade. I've said it before, this guy's next level as far as his talent goes. He is special. He is extraordinary. if he worked on his English as much as he worked on his work in the ring, he'd be a star right now. So I'm not sure if Booker T's taking shots or speaking truth there, but Andrade wants out of WWE. Now, on Monday night, there were fears of another COVID outbreak, this time in NXT, with reports suggesting that there have been several positive tests from people assigned to the Black and Gold brand. On the latest Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer confirmed that the outbreak is believed to have only impacted NXT, which is good news, as the previous outbreaks have reportedly affected the entire company. Dave Meltzer said, "I was told that it was only NXT people and enough that whatever it is, the show being rewritten and certain things that were being planned aren't going to be there. But I don't know what that would be, and they're not going to tell you." So a little bit of mysteriousness going on with NXT as far as COVID goes. Don't be surprised if some of the storylines that we've been following are getting changed and things are getting a little bit escalated now. You may have noticed that Charlie Crusoe has been absent from WWE programming as of late. Maybe you didn't notice. I don't know. I don't really think she adds anything to the programming. She's not a bad-looking face, and she's got kind of a great body. But other than that, she's not really good at her interviewing skills. Well, a new report from Fightful Select has stated that she's received some backstage heat after consistently being late to conduct her interviews for television. This was said to have rubbed people the wrong way, with specific instances occurring with Randy Orton and Sheamus. Word reportedly got back to higher ups, and she was taken off television as a result. And the thought is currently it's unconfirmed, but the belief backstage is that that her WWE contract is set to expire soon. There is no word on whether her future will be with the company or not. Good chance she could be like Dasha and end up in AEW. Who knows? Speaking of AEW star Austin Gunn, Billy Gunn's son, will be releasing a hip-hop album this Friday on March 19th, alongside singer-songwriter Safi Love. I have no idea who that is. The album will include 6 tracks and will cheerily be titled All Alone. Now, I got to sample some of this, and I will say it's okay. Like, it's not great. It's what you would probably expect from a wrestler who's not necessarily a rapper, but can kind of freestyle a little bit. I seen a little bit of a clip, and I heard some of it, and it was okay. That's what we'll say. It was okay. And finally, Eric Bischoff, the man who helped construct WCW, helped wage war, and was one half of what was the Attitude Era in WWE because of what he did in WCW, as well as the first ever general manager of Monday Night Raw. Eric Bischoff has been announced into the 2021 WWE Hall of Fame class. So if you get the Peacock Network, you can watch him get inducted into WWE's Hall of Fame. And that's going to do it for this week's Wrestling News and Notes.
Great stuff, cuz. Make sure you follow the podcast at Detroit Podcast. Anywhere you listen to your favorite podcast, type in Detroit Sports Podcast. When you hit that subscribe button, our daily content, including great interviews, daily content dedicated to Detroit sports, Michigan athletics, all things that are related to Detroit. We definitely hit on it on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. Fun, entertaining, and really brash and over the top. That's what makes us special. You can follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSTROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast and get in the mix. If you liked the interview, if you didn't, hit us up. Let us know. We appreciate everybody that takes the time to hit that download. We appreciate everybody that takes the time to hit that download button and listens to our daily episodes of the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.